All right, yo, what's up, everybody? Buddy here again with another episode of What It Took. Today, our guest is...
Zeek.
And what's your project?
My project, I guess I recently dropped, in mid-June, is Jordan Year.
Jordan Year, that's your artist name, right?
It's actually not my artist name. I just go by Zeek. I've, tried to come up with many rap names or, nicknames or whatever, but... I guess none stuck, so I just went with Zeek, and then I've just ran with it. I was producing under the name Old Guy actually for a little bit when I did this project, just because I thought it was funny. But it was my rap name was Zeek, and then my pseudonym I guess was gonna be Old Guy, but I kind of just scrapped that, and now production and raps are just all Zeek now.
That's awesome. Z-E-E-K.
Yep.
Sweet. What are some of the names that you didn't choose?
Oh God! Well, when I first started back in the day, my friends called me Z-Boy, so it was Z-Boy. But that just lasted for a few years, and then actually, to be honest, that was the only name that I had was Z-Boy, and then I went Zeek, and then that just kind of floated around Zeek, and that was kind of a tentative name because I thought I was gonna get a cool name eventually when I got better, but I never did, and I was like, hey, Zeek's cool enough, that's tight. That's unique enough, and so I just kind of ran with it. But
I like Old Guy. My first band ever was Old and Gray.
Old Gray, I like that.
Yeah.
And I kind of the inspiration behind that was I always saw myself as an old soul or whatever. I always felt a little geriatric in my tendencies, I guess. So I was
Same here,
I'm the crotchety old guy making fucking beats in his little dungeon. But I was that's funny, but I do want to be serious, I guess, one day, and I felt I was getting a little better, so I was maybe I'll switch over. But I also, I guess, want to give you, I guess, a little background.
Yeah, do it.
I don't know. I guess I started making music just because, obviously, my love of music. I grew up in a musical household and all that. And going through high school, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, yada yada. And then I was just, I don't know, the only thing I was really, really passionate about was music. I was doing the whole school thing and was going to gonna go to college, but I was just I love music so much. I want to try and make songs and blah blah blah, just like everybody does. I just get curious, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was just doing a lot of things involved with music. I told you earlier when I came in that I was doing concert security, so I did that for 3-4 years of my life. I was working festivals Outside Lands and working all the venues Warfield, Fox, I don't know, Bill Graham, Regency.
Oh wow,
a
lot, all over.
Yeah, all over, to the Bay and closer to Sac. I used to work Sleep Train too. And just everything, Shoreline, whatever. But anyway,
did you live in the Bay or always here?
I did. I grew up in Sac until I was 18. I lived in Citrus Heights, and then right when I graduated, I went to Concord. I went to Diablo Valley College, and then
shout out.
Yeah, right. And then I did music there, and I already was doing music, and then I was I found out they had a super sick music program, kind of like AR, but I wanted to get out of Sac. And so I was just I went to Concord, I went with a homie, and I did that for probably a year and a half. I was really grinding on music. At the time I was using Cubase. I wasn't on Ableton at the time, but I was just wasn't making beats, I was just rapping and kind of trying to make beats. I also had a weird the weird trial version of Ableton I feel everybody gets when they start, and I was kind of trying to make beats, but I just was never good, and so I was just rapping on SoundCloud beats and free YouTube beats and all that crap, just kind of trying to get better, and then also doing music school because I thought also I didn't really think I was going to be on the production side of things. I thought I was just going to do engineering or whatever that. So
wow, so real quick,
sorry, I'm kind of just
no,
rambling.
This is perfect, this is cool. You're already diving into my second question, which is great. For the viewers, that question is what did it take for you to kind of get to where you're at right now? And we're in there.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
We're in the middle of it, it sounds
right.
Which is cool. And I just have a follow-up question about the beat making part, right? Mm-hmm. So, I'm really curious, what your timeline and what your path sort of looked like to get to where you are now. So, from what I'm understanding, you were just hey, I'm I did a bunch of security stuff at shows that probably really ignited your passion for music.
Right.
Don't let me put words in your mouth, but
no,
that's kind of what I'm hearing.
The security added to it. It didn't really, actually, I don't know if it really fueled my drive to do music, but it made it seem more accessible because I was surrounded by so many like connections and people.
Interesting.
So I just felt like, and also like I just started getting like musical friends and like just meeting people. So it seemed like I had a good community started, I guess. So it seemed like I kind of had like the in, or whatever you want to call it. And so I was like, this seems more feasible than it did in like high school or something like that.
Were there any performers that you saw like that really stuck out that were like, okay, I can do that too? Or were there any like friends that were like also like maybe motivational in that way?
Yeah, for sure. Like I think a lot of the rap I was listening to in like high school, it seemed kind of above me at like a certain point, but then like I think once I started making music more and you realize like what it takes to actually craft these songs, it seems more possible. You understand like the ins and outs and you're like, maybe like this isn't that hard, and I maybe, you know, if I put enough time in, I could be just as good as these guys, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so and like I think there was a certain point where you just like any musician, I think you just start making breakthroughs. I think when you spend enough time, and I think I just started like making those breakthroughs around the same time of the security, and I was like, and then also seeing like what people just on the stage were doing. Like there'd be times where I'd work in like in the sound pit, and so I'd get to see like everything the engineers are doing, or I'd work like backstage, and like, you know, I'd see like what the process goes on back there, and I'm just like, you know, like this is just another job kind of thing. Like I don't know, it sounds kind of shitty, but it kind of took like the magic away a little bit, like the elusiveness of the music industry, or like what you might like assume or think in your mind. And I'm just like this is just like normal stuff. Like I can do it too. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like
yeah, interesting. I remember the first time that happened to me too.
Right.
It was just like, oh wow, like,
right,
looking behind the curtain.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a really interesting feeling to be like, wow, okay, the magic is sort of like I can feel it like sort of dissipating a little bit, because I'm very clearly seeing like what's going into this, or like what's behind that curtain.
Right.
It's a really interesting like thing to recognize and look back on as well.
Especially going to so many shows before I started doing security, and then also still going to shows after doing security.
How many shows do you think you've been to in your life?
Dude, like if you want to include security and just attendance, like I wouldn't doubt I'm like 300 plus.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's a lot.
Yeah, maybe more.
Yeah.
And I'm like that, and I'm like I haven't really been going to shows that long, but I've been going to shows probably consistently since I was like 16. Or 17, and then like especially when I started working them, I'd go work them and go. So yeah, it was just double. Yeah. So I'd say like 40 a year, I guess, or 17 to 23, 17 to COVID, if that's what it is. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Neat. You also mentioned like kind of getting into, you know, as you sort of started, you know, you were just rapping, and then you kind of transitioned into beat making through Ableton, I think.
Yeah,
and
Cubase then Ableton.
Did you start with making your own beats, or did you start with like finding beats on YouTube?
Finding, for sure. And also
I'm super curious about that. So I've never gone down that rabbit hole.
Oh, okay.
Can you what was that like? You know, how does that work? And like just explain that for a noob.
Right. Like honestly, as like I don't know, a millennial rapper, I guess, I feel like a lot of people in my age group start doing that because they can't make beats and they just want to rap. And there's a lot of like what's it called, like open source or like whatever, like free beats that producers just put out just because they want their name out there. Cool. So I actually the first few beats I rapped on were actually from a real person, and then I wanted to keep rapping, so I had to find like a source of beats. But I also got beats through SoundCloud, not just YouTube. It was actually my friend, he still raps actually, he goes by Godboy, but he gave me some of my first beats and like when I was like 16, 17, and I met him through another friend in high school, and so he gave me like my first couple beats. I went on them and I was like, this is tight, I love this, like I don't know if this will ever be a thing, but I love doing this, I'm gonna keep doing it. And then I was like, but I don't have fucking beats and I need beats. And so then you just go on YouTube and you find beats that sound like people you know. People call them type beats actually. Type, Type. They call them type beats. So like I feel like a lot of the beats you look up in high school, you type in an artist's name before it. So like I don't know, back in the day I was listening to like ASAP Rocky or like Flatbush Zombies, and so you type in like Flatbush Zombies type beat or whatever the heck, and it would give you a beat that's like that, or like whatever, like, you know, Odd Future type beat or whatever the heck you're into at that time. And type beats would just come up, and so like that's what people do. That's like a big like subculture of the internet is type beats, and like that's a big way people promote themselves now too. They'll just make hella like type beats of popular artists, like Young Thug type beat or Denzel Curry type beat. Nice. And and then that gets your name out there. It's kind of another like avenue for some people.
So if you like use a type beat or whatever from YouTube, you just give the person that made it a shout out on the release page, or like what do you do there?
So they'll have in like the description or something, they'll either say it's free, so then you just gotta download it with some like, you know, YouTube downloader, sketchy downloader or whatever. Not that I do that at all, but or you could hit up the person, obviously, and then some people actually sell their beats on YouTube too, so they lease their beats or sell all the rights or whatever they do, and they usually just put like their email or however you can hit them up, slide in their DMs or whatever.
Have you ever thought about making, like, so actually, did you transition to making your own beats? Did that happen? Or,
yeah. So like,
I
guess that was the next kind of thing I probably would have led up to, is that like, once I was tired of rapping on type beats, because I just like, I had hundreds of songs on type beats, and I was like, but it never really felt like my song, obviously, because I'm just like, it felt like I was just ripping these people's beats off the internet. And then so I was just like, I was just done with doing type beats. And then a couple of friends that I make music with were feeding me like beats here and there, but they were kind of working on their stuff as well. And so I just was slowly but surely like trying to sample and trying to make beats, and eventually got to like a point where I could rap on them. But there was a point where I didn't make a lot of music because I was tired of rapping on like stealing beats and rapping on other people's beats, and I like just wouldn't settle until I could like really make my own beats. So I feel like there was like a year or so probably where I just wasn't like rapping, or a year and a half or something.
Just making beats.
Just beats, and like playing. I play drums too, so like doing that. Or I like if I would rap. Sorry, what was that?
I was just saying, awesome.
Oh yeah, and like there was if I would rap, it would just be like for fun. Like I never was like trying to make a project, but I'd still do type beats or whatever.
Cool. Have you ever made any beats for any other artists?
Besides my friends, not yet.
Friends, yeah.
Yeah.
What are their projects? Do you want to give them a shout out to them real fast?
I'd love to. Yeah, so my main homies who I make music with, I got Ego Death, Leo Aram, I got The Hands, and then I got my friend Soft Culture, and we actually are all on a record label that we're trying to start together called Replicant. I think Rachel or you might have found me through the Replicant Bandcamp, so like, because we have all our stuff linked there. But the first person I actually started making music with was Leo Aram. His name is Brendan, but him and another friend who actually doesn't make music anymore, rest in peace, but his name was Young Bert, and I started making raps with them, and we just like had fun with it back in high school. But yeah, now we still collaborate, and pretty much the only person I rap with is Leo Aram, aka Brendan, right now. But I make music with all the boys.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You have like really good chemistry with them, or like where'd you meet them and stuff?
I met them actually through mutuals in high school. So I think the first one I knew was my old rap like partner, Young Bert, who I don't really make too much music with. But Leo Aram is like, I guess, the next person I started rapping with. And what's really funny is we had awful chemistry. I like when we first met each other. Like I don't want to say it was awful. We were good friends, but like music chemistry, I feel like was almost non-existent.
It was nope.
Yeah, it was just like every time I feel like it would just end up like kind of like okay, but it was always just like it could be better kind of thing. Honestly, a couple of the boys. I haven't made any legitimate music with my friend Josh or Lewis, which is Soft Culture in the Hands, but Ego Death and Brendan, who I've made a lot, or Leo Aram, who I've made a lot of my music up to this point with, it didn't happen until like recently. It took like a lot of like just honestly friendship building and just being homies with them before I could make music with them.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, neat. Yeah, I'm stoked to hear that stuff. We'll definitely put links to all those projects in the description box below. And make sure you click on those and check those out for sure.
Sure. Oh, I want to give one more shout out then. We actually, the Replicant label dropped our first project. It was, I think we dropped it early June, like kind of around when I dropped Jordan Year. It was either right after or right before. I'm slipping up right now, but that's just called Replicant SS20, as in like summer spring 20. We kind of did it like like a fashion drop or whatever, just because we dropped that one in the summer spring, and then we're actually gearing up to try and drop Replicant fall winter for this before the year's out. We kind of want to drop it, I think, like late November, December, but we're trying to make this one hit a lot harder, and I think we might actually try and do like physicals and stuff maybe this time.
Cool. Yeah. What did it take to start the label? What did it take to start that? How did that work?
Right. I don't know. We've all, like, after we all, like, did start having, all the other boys actually had great chemistry. I think I was the only one that really couldn't work well with a lot of them. Yeah. So, like, once we kind of, I feel like all just started cranking out a lot of tracks and stuff over, like, the past couple of years, and especially quarantine. Quarantine was kind of a weird, like, blessing in disguise, even though it was shitty for a lot of people, for a lot of musicians, I guess. Like, it was time to, like, just make, and we all did, and that kind of is what jump-started Replicant, because it was, like, a loose idea before, and then once we got, like, all the time, we're like, okay, we have all these songs, we could definitely drop something. And the project's actually 22 songs. I bet most people don't finish it, honestly. But yeah, we had all these things. We're just like, we want to drop them hella bad. So we just made like a group chat and started brainstorming ideas, and like we just all liked the name Replicant. I don't think we all wanted to be like too picky. Good name. Thanks. Good name, yeah. Hell yeah. I don't think we wanted to be too picky, and like, you know, we were not like, none of us are Blade Runner fanatics, but you know, lightweight inspired maybe. Awesome. But yeah, and so now we don't have like official like copyright and all that, but I think that's the next step, maybe after the next project, to like get like the publishing license and like really like start making it official.
Who does what?
So me, we all provide songs, I guess I should say. Yeah, but great. Me, I just I do a lot of the videos, I guess, for the Replicant. Like if there's any like snippets or stuff like that, I usually do the video editing alongside my cousin, actually, who does a lot of 3D animations. He actually goes by Bishop Brindle Art. It's just his name, but he's been getting really good. He just turned like 19, and so he's nice enough to just help me with all my like little tiny animations and like kind of just little extra things I need. And then Ego Death, he provides music, and also, yeah, I guess he does do a lot of art direction in general. I think him and Josh were the big like kind of like art direction about it. I mean, we all were, but Josh and Bri kind of like hit all the people up that we needed to like for like album art and like logos that we kind of had made. It's actually Matt Vlock. I don't know if you know him, but he's part of the Yellow Brick Group. It's a local like typography company. Like it's just text. Like he sells text. He actually just sold some text to Pizza Supreme Bean. Like he's super local. And they're awesome. That's great. But he provided all of our logos and art for Replicant, and we have like we're kind of like, he's kind of like our Replicant guy. Like we're working in tandem with him with all our art, and want to keep working with him down the road, but also making our own like stuff as well and shit like that.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, what kind of steps? What do you see this as the future of Replicant? Like, what if you're trying to grow that? Like, what would be your next steps? And like, yeah, do you have any like one that you would want to partner with?
Right. I actually wanted to finish because I went over Bride, Josh, and me, but then Lewis. You're all good. Y'all good. I kind of felt like I was going on a while, but
it's all good.
Yeah, Lewis just provides songs and just feedback too, and then Brendan also does art. He does art and videos as well. So we just like, we all do a little bit of everything. All kind of have like a little, you know, dash or whatever. Yeah. But the future of Replicant, after this fall winter stuff, I think that's when we're gonna start trying to gear up to make it official. Because like once we get like the physicals and then whatever, I think we want to try and do like little promo and like videos and shit like that. And then maybe each of us have like kind of like some side projects. Like when different members of us link up, we go by different names. So like Brendan, Lewis, and Bry will be like, they go by the grandmothers, and then me and Bry go by Lemon Box, and then Bry and Josh go by Bath Salts. And so like we all have like these subgroups within Replicant. And so we probably will like maybe even try and like press stuff too, not just CDs, like maybe try and do like a cassette or a 45 or
cool.
you know, whatever that may be. But just like build a following, I guess, and just do stuff we like too. Yeah. We want to get other people in on it once we get the publishing and stuff, and just promote local music we like and help. I mean, kind of like what you're doing, and just kind of make like a platform for different stuff, because we do consider ourselves like pretty experimental. So we do want to see like more of that and more stuff that we like in the local sax scene. So we want to, you know, make that accessible, I guess.
We gotta build the scene that we wish
that we want to
existed.
see. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's fun to think about for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really neat to think about, you know, to observe your timeline in a whole too, right? Like to start to think about this as like a start and like a now type of thing. I think it's really cool that you've like flexed a lot of muscles, right? Like you flexed like learning how to rap and kind of getting, you know, going into that world. Then it transitioned to like beat making, and then it transitioned. There's probably a gap in there too, but like
there's a lot of gaps.
And then it sounds like it transitioned into like starting a label, which is like that's pretty cool, right? Like that's not a lot of people do that,
right? And
it's a really interesting, like if you're looking at like the arc of an artist, like it's neat to like visualize someone starting with like rapping, and then like starting a label,
right?
Yeah. So maybe do you want to fill in some of the gaps in between like the beat making and then starting the label?
Yeah.
Just so people can kind of understand like how that arc worked.
True. Yeah. Yeah. So like, I guess in high school when I first realized that music is probably going to be a part of my life for a while and just started making beats, I was just focused on getting good at rapping. There was a lot of bad songs, to be honest. Just like to get to the point I'm at, just a lot of awful beats and just shitty songs. And so I just kept working. I mean, I love them, to be honest. I would always find like something gratifying, like you always do, and something new you make or create, which is tight. But I still knew that it wasn't where I wanted. And I like, you know, I still now know I'm not at where I want to be. But like, yeah, so I guess then I really wouldn't say I was even making beats up to when I graduated, which was 2014. I was 18. I was just doing like video and rapping. And video was first before all of it. I've been making videos since I was like early high school, middle school kind of thing. Like, and I have made music videos for other people. I made music videos for that guy Godboy who gave me my first beat. I just made some music videos for just some randos back in high school. And so yeah, that was definitely like my first love. And then when I got to college, DVC, I took a production class for Cubase, not Ableton. And so that's where I guess made my first beats. I wasn't even sampling, which is most of my stuff now. But yeah, still just making awful stuff, to be honest. Just rapping on the tight beats, like I said. And then Brendan actually, Brendan was really good at beats at this point. Like Brendan has probably been making, Brendan and Bry and Josh, they've all been making beats like way longer than me. Like they were making stuff when I couldn't even like make stuff. So Brendan was giving me a few around that time here and there. And also my friend Youngberg I was talking about, he would give us beats like every, you know, once in a while. And then once I stopped going to DVC and I actually moved to Washington before I came back to SAC, that's where I actually started making kind of the beat breakthrough. And I was still just doing the security and rapping on tight beats, whatever, still making progression when I could, but it still wasn't like all my own stuff, which I wanted to be like all my own, like in-house, mixing, like making the beats, rapping, like everything. I wanted to be like the, you know, one-man show kind of deal. Just because a lot of the rappers that I looked up to, a lot of the people I like a lot, just did that. And like it's just badass when you say you did it all. That kind of thing.
It feels better. Huh?
Yeah, it feels better. You're like, I didn't have any help on this. Like,
be more proud or something.
Yeah,
just like more sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, a sense of accomplishment. It's not that I don't like help. I've had a lot of help for like a lot of my stuff, but it's always
that's
cool.
An interesting one, right? Because like there's definitely a really big like positive element to like making your own everything, right? Like doing all the vocals, writing all the lyrics, writing all the words, you know, making the beat from scratch, like playing the drums, like doing your own sampling, like whatever that is. then there's also a huge benefit to building a really strong team.
Oh yeah,
right?
it's really important.
It sounds like you've done both.
Yeah, and
Cool.
I think I needed to learn how to work with the team musically, because I feel like I'm really with my music. I have like a strong vision, and I'm like, I see it before it's done. And sometimes when I'm working with people, I'm like, I don't want to budge sometimes, probably. But yeah, I feel like I've gotten pretty good with working with like my friends and stuff like that. A lot of the stuff we make, to be honest, is remote, especially with Brendan, who most of the music I make was with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it always like it's been turning out really awesome. I mean, a few songs were on Jordan here, and they were some of my favorites for a while. So
which ones were those?
Bullfighter and the world don't love you back. And Brendan produced one, I produced the other. But we rapped on both. Both of us rapped on both of them, and those were both just remote tracks, email tracks. And but they turned out awesome, and like I look back on them and still like them. There's like a few things that I'm like, maybe it could be better, but yeah, those like I don't know. Our it's funny, me and Brendan's chemistry. We actually haven't really made a song in person. Every single song has been like through email, which is kind of ridiculous.
So modern.
Yeah, so modern. And before, when we'd make songs in person, we do have a few, but we've never made like any of our favorites or our bangers that we consider bangers together, which is really funny. I think it's just how we write how we write our raps. I think we need to be alone, like sweating and pacing in like a room by ourselves while we write our raps.
Okay, so that's a perfect question. So how do you do that? Like, what is the process for like writing a track for you?
Oh,
what's the order?
It's definitely sometimes it's beat, rap, and then I go back to the beat and build on it. And then, but most of the time it's just beat then rap. I feel like rarely I have a rap ready for a beat. Usually what will happen is I will make a beat, rap on it, and if I don't like it, I'll save the rap and then put it on a new one. But that's the only scenario where I'll have the rap ready before for the beat.
That's something that I definitely want to start messing around with more in like collaboration with other local artists, is having them send me a performance of a track, and then I build around that from scratch. Like, so do the opposite of what I think is kind of like the normal process.
Yeah.
I really want to do that, actually.
That's funny you say that, because me and Brendan do that. Like, I feel like that's one of the main things we do. We flip acapellas at each other.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would like open up like the doors for some pretty experimental tracks. Right? Especially if like, okay, you have a vocal track and you're just sort of writing to that in a very like non-standard sort of way. I think you could get pretty interesting with that.
Right.
I've kind of got like the seed of the idea and like how it could potentially work, but I just haven't tried that yet.
Yeah.
So maybe we could do that at some point.
I would love to, man. Actually, Ego Death, he's done that with a few of my tracks. He actually just performed at NorCal Noise Fest. That was a digital stream.
No way.
Yeah,
okay,
it was
look that up.
Yeah, it was nice. It was really nice. I made the video for that one too. Honestly, probably my favorite video I've ever made. To be real.
We're gonna have to link that too.
Yeah. Feel free. We actually just made a replicate YouTube, so yeah, we could link that. And it was it was a awesome. Oh wait, where was I going with that? Just with the video, I guess. I don't know.
Or maybe it was the order.
Oh no, the acapella, because you're talking about doing more experimental, and he took one of my acapellas and put it in his Noise Fest set, and it was originally a song we did for a compilation that was raising money for charity, and then he took the acapella from that we did when we raised the money for charity and put it over his like experimental noise set, and it turned out super awesome.
I bet
honestly,
that's awesome. Happy accidents, was what I imagine happens there.
Yeah,
it's like very unintended kind of outcomes. So you just send him a track and it was just like, no, probably not even performing to a click, just like doing whatever. Oh,
I should also add, I live with Ego Death.
Okay, gotcha.
So the two people, so if it's Lewis, Brendan, Bry, Josh, I live with Lewis and Bry, and then Josh and Brendan don't live with me.
Got it.
So
Cool.
so
Okay,
all
sweet.
this stuff that we've been doing pretty much all of quarantine, I've been with Ego Death the entire time.
Got it.
And so yeah, when we recorded this song at the beginning, when he he actually wasn't living with me, but when he's been wanting to use that a cappella, and when the Noise Fest came up, he was like, "Oh, it's time."
Sweet. So it had nothing but your vocal performance, and then he just added whatever to it.
He actually had the track already there.
He had it done.
He had it done, and then just like slapped my vocals over it. Or he might have made it with it, but I think he had most of the track done, and then put my vocals over it. And then I actually filmed. Once you watch the video, I filmed like a little video part for it, and then like mixed it in with all the other stuff I had going on. But
Cool.
yeah, it was tight.
Awesome. On the album Jordan Year, what was the hardest song to make?
The hardest song to make was probably the second song, Wesley, maybe. The only reason that song was hard is just because it's like a lot of like conflicting frequencies and noises, so it was like impossible to get it to sound good. I honestly still don't even think that song really sounds good.
The mixing part of it?
Mixing, and I guess mainly just mixing. It wasn't too hard to put together, but it has a big ass like 808 on it, so that was just like dwarfing everything for like the entire time I made the song. You couldn't even really hear anything. And but I wouldn't say any of my songs, if there was any songs that were difficult, it's usually just the writing part. I try and keep the beat making like fairly simple, even though that's something I want to get better at, is like more song structure and like making my songs more complex and things. But yeah, I'd say mixing is probably the hardest part of any of the songs, to be honest. Yeah.
Were there any songs that were like hard lyrically, like just in terms of the content, or like that whole thing, that whole world,
lyrically,
or just overall?
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of the tracks. I guess maybe Wesley was kind of hard lyrically, but the one Nathan wasn't hard lyrically. I think I had that ready for a while, but it was like doing it that was super difficult. Like I didn't know how I wanted to say it. I went from like yelling it to like whispering it to being mellow, and it was funny. That one, I feel like it's one of the like lesser popular tracks, but my friend Lewis has this mic he bought from some local Sac artist. I forget his name, or else I'd plug him right now. But it's an actual phone, like rotary phone, that they rewired into like a microphone that has like a 1/4 inch. And so I did that verse through the microphone, and it has a natural telephone filter
sound
instead of like an EQ, and it sounds way different.
That's rad.
And so yeah, that was what I ended up doing it through, and then it kind of ended up helping me figure out the tone I guess I wanted. But that's usually the big struggle for me, is tone, because I can either go like balls to the wall kind of thing, or just keep it like smooth, mellow, whatever.
Neat. I should know this, but are all the tracks on Jordan Year, are they all people's names?
Oh, no, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, they kind of are. The first one was just Michael Jordan talking. Wesley does have significance. I talk about my grandpa on that one, and that was my grandpa's name.
Got it.
Before he died. And then Nathan is actually I just say that in the song, and it's just slang for nothing.
Oh, got
like
it.
I don't care about Nathan, I don't care about nothing kind of thing. And then Janice, the outro, that's my grandma's name. So it was kind of like a grandpa kind of homage kind of thing. But
what's going on? Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Oh, actually, the last one's kind of a double entendre, because the sample is actually Janis Joplin.
Oh, neat.
But my grandma's name is also Janice, but that's different spellings.
Is your grandma Janis Joplin?
Yeah. How'd you know?
I could just tell.
She's got the soul, dude.
That's awesome.
She's got the soul of a black woman.
Shout out to Janis.
Shout out Janis.
All the Janices out there.
All of them.
We'll put a link to some Janis Joplin in the description below too. Maybe we can find your favorite Janis track, and we'll plop that in there.
Ooh, I would not be mad.
That'd be cool, just in case someone out there watching has never heard them.
Oh, you got to listen.
Cool. All right, sweet. Yeah, so what else is on your mind about Jordan Year or some future releases? Yeah.
What else is on my mind?
Yeah, what's on your mind right now?
I honestly I feel like a lot of people or musicians or whatever have this, like after they drop a project, they're like, forget that. I'm tired of that already. Let's move on to the next one. So like a month later, I was just like, okay, I'm tired of all these songs. It's on to the next one. I need to be like bigger, better. Like fuck this. So I've just been working on more songs. I got. Honestly, after I dropped that, I immediately started like making a bunch, which is usually not me. Like it took me so long to make Jordan Year. I feel like there was all this time where I was like, I'm gonna make a project. I'm gonna make a project.
Wow.
And I just never did. Oh, I take it back. There's one 3-song project I dropped right when I left Diablo Valley College, but it was all beats from other people I had hit up and like got them from and stuff, and it was really sad, and it was just like the first thing I kind of made, this little EP, but this is the legitimate one. And so I would say that was just like a long time coming, and now that I made that like breakthrough that I can do it, now I just want to like keep getting like better and better and make like grow my following and like just make my drops like more official. And yeah, like it's nothing like I'm not pushing it, like I'm not trying to be like some big famous whatever guy, but you know, if I can have a modest following or people who like get something out of my music, that's really all I ask for, kind of thing. And you know, I'll always have it as like a little side thing, like side love, passion, whatever. But yeah, I definitely look forward to like hearing what people have to say. Like even when you hit me up for this interview, I was like, oh damn, that's cool to see like, you know, people liking what I do. So that's always tight.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Yep. Definitely. Cool. That's exciting. Yeah, so immediately starting to write new stuff.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, especially me and Brendan. We already got like 4 more email tracks that we didn't even talk about.
Wow, neat. Cool. If you could collaborate with anybody in the world on your next release,
yeesh,
who would you either want to feature or have involved in the next project?
Yeesh, that's a question and a half. If I could have anybody, see, I'm like, I feel like I'm kind of a purist where it's like if my ability can't match the person who I want to work with, I honestly don't want to do them like an injustice. Like I want to like live up. Like, yeah, like if like I'm gonna ask their services, like I need to like show up. So like, but that aside, let me think. I mean, a big inspiration of me when I first started was like MF Doom or Earl. I almost wouldn't want to collaborate with them because I get so much inspiration from them, like beat wise and flow wise in the early days. Someone who I think might complement me, which would be kind of a tight collab, Quelle Chris. I don't know if you heard of Quelle Chris. Mm-mm. That might be kind of cool. Honestly, he has some really tight beats, and I feel like I might sound kind of dope on a Quelle Chris beat. But other than that, I think I wouldn't want to rap with any of the rappers I like. I think I would just want beats from them because a lot of the rappers I listen to are like rapper producers, and I think I would just want to get on a beat or do like a beat tape. Like if I this is like so out of the question and out of pocket, but like if I could do like a Mad Lib like hosted rap album, like obviously that's like the pinnacle. I feel like for any like underground rapper, but I almost wouldn't want to do that either. To be honest, if I was I would just want like one Mad Lib beat, and I would be happy for the rest of my life.
You should make it happen.
Yeah, hey, who knows? Maybe one day it could happen. But
I'm really a proponent of that. Just like send the email.
Right.
See what happens.
Right. That's for sure. There's been a lot of artists that do that too. Just like on Twitter, they'll reach out and the other artist will just be like, "Okay, like let's do this."
Yep. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of that. Worst thing that can happen is they don't get back to you. Right. Or they say no, and then you just try again You just try again tomorrow. Right. And the next day, and the next day, and the next day.
And then, a couple years down, it'll happen,
Yeah, a couple of years later, you've sent them 700 messages, and you're at their front door.
And they hate you, they know you as the stalker fan, and then, it's history. But actually, now that I've been rambling long enough, I think I could collab with Mike. He's in, like, that realm of, like, Earl and all those other rappers, Mavi and Overcast, and so I feel like we could complement each other. I feel like it'd be tight. He has great beats. I feel like I could provide something to the beat game. Who knows? Yeah. But that'd be a tight collab. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but it's very like soulful, and introspective, but not like too heady. Like it's not like Common, but it's still like really introspective.
Yeah, neat. That's one thing that I'm really trying to like have real conversations with local musicians about like that sort of the vibe that we have, and I think like a mentality that I'm really noticing is like, I feel like a lot of people get in our own way, and we think that like, hey, the ultimate version of what like my dream music goals are like unattainable, and I'm not even gonna shoot for them.
Right.
So I'm like really trying to have honest conversations with people and being like, yo, like if that's something you'd be stoked to do and that would bring you a lot of joy in your musical adventure, make it happen.
Right.
Like just send that email, like draft something up, hit them up, see
Right.
if you know somebody that knows them.
People don't know that, which is crazy. Like that you really like, it's that easy sometimes.
There's a big block where it's just like, oh yeah, like I don't even really sit in my dreams that much anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Like maybe I'm kind of in autopilot. I'm like doing the thing that's like comfortable and like right in front of me.
Yeah.
So I love to ask that question, like, hey, what would your dream whatever be?
Right.
And then carve out time to be like, you can probably do that.
Yeah.
Right? Like just put some energy into it and see what happens.
Right. I've learned that from a lot of my friends. Like, just send it. My friend Bryce, and like I don't know, a lot of people. Like he's a snowboarder, and like I'm always like, Bryce, how do you do all this shit? He's like, dude, just send it, and I like apply that to life.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And also, I when you were mid like speech there, I was thinking about like the security and stuff, and like the like kind of the veil being taken away. Like that made a lot of things just seem possible. Like I said, like in reach. Like you just need to go for it because it's super possible. I feel like a lot of musicians and just artists in general don't have that mindset. I definitely think that like if you want to do something, it'll just have like you have to have enough patience and time, and it'll happen if you're persistent enough to be real. Like with anything, really.
Yeah, I feel that for sure.
Yeah.
It'll be really interesting to see how this like interview series goes, and like how often I like really try to encourage people to like go like shoot for their dreams and then see if like which ones happened.
Right.
It's gonna be really fun to look back in like 10 or 20 years and be like, whoa, like
that would be
we were just talking about this potential of like collaborating in this way, and then it happened.
Right. That'd be so tight.
Yeah.
And like this is the ground.
This is our time capsule right here.
Right. Oh man, I love that. Yeah, dude.
The video document of this idea. So.
And like I don't know, like I don't know why people think some things like that are so attainable. I think because it's like a preconceived thing that people are like, oh, you can be an astronaut or a lawyer if you want to, and people are just smacked down by reality, like, no, that's so unrealistic, yada yada. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like you just, I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, you just need to go for it. More people need to go for it. That's my message.
Especially when it comes to music, I think. It's just like, let's get out of our way. Right? Let's just like, if we have something that we want to achieve, like, just try.
Right.
Know that that's possible. Right? It's also interesting to sort of just like carve out time to almost like give other people permission to do it. Right, I'm noticing that's like a thing too in the music community. It's just like sometimes you just need someone else to like let you know that like, hey, yeah, go for it. Right. Like, this is you. Like it's okay to do that.
Right. Or let you know like, yeah, that's tight. Like go do that. Yeah. Some people need that little push, and then they just go off. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. There's not I don't know if there's a lot of that in Sacramento or in the music community currently.
No.
Right, but just like. Let's encourage each other, right, and like try to lift each other up. And I think that's another thing that like I'm big part of my mission here at the library, right. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of pans out over the next 10 years.
Totally. Like I definitely talk a lot of like crap on some music, but like I'm never gonna put down like if I'm talking to a person, I'm always gonna like be like, yeah, go for it, dude, or whatever. Like I can not like what you're doing and still like, you know, uplift you and promote like you to go for your dreams and all that kind of shit. Like no, like everybody likes different things, and there will be an audience for your art. Like that's another thing people I feel like don't remind themselves about. Like there will be an audience for your art, whether it be 10 or like 1,000 people. Like if you keep doing it, there'll be someone. There'll be one person that likes it. There'll be one.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. All right. Any kind of last shout outs or last things you want to share with anybody watching?
Oh man. I guess just look out for Replicant Fall Winter.
Yep.
Look out for my next project. Who knows when that'll be? Probably like sometime next year. I'll be dropping a bunch of singles. I have a YouTube. It's actually GeneBop, youtube.com/GeneBop. But yeah, I'll probably link that.
Link all of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll link all that stuff.
Yep.
Besides that, I don't know. Shouts out all my boys. Shouts out my mom, my grandma, my aunties, my cousins, all the homies. Shouts out Daisy. You guys know Daisy. We've been making cool tracks. She's been on, actually, she was on that Noise Fest thing and on all the stuff we've been making recently. So shouts out her. And cool. Thank you, buddy, for letting me do this.
Thank you. Shout out to you.
Yeah, thanks, man. And yeah, I'm going to be back here for sure. Probably doing some videos or recording whatever the hell you got going on. So.
Yeah, let's do a live stream once we get that set up.
Yes, cool. A Replicant live stream.
Yep.
Replicant live stream. All right, hell yeah, dude.
Cool, we'll get the nerds in here and make it happen.
Yes, thank you so much, man. This is fun.
All right, right on. We'll see you in the next one, y'all. Peace out.